I wanted to touch upon the compositional techniques you use. So I know you mentioned you do lots of candid and you lean towards that style, but do you ever like stand around and wait for like a person or subject to walk into a scene just because like the light or composition
That's right.
looks good?
That's right. Yep. That's when I'm talking to landscape photographers, that's basically all I tell them. I say just find a place in the city, stand there for a while, because there's certain photographs that I have. I waited around like 45 minutes at one spot to get that shot. I mean, not that I was just waiting for that one shot. I was trying the whole time, taking shots here and there, maybe a different angle, maybe you may be trying it, portrait orientation, maybe trying a landscape orientation, and just waiting for the right person to come along. Because yeah, the light is good. I know, maybe it's a more of a graphical image, so there's certain lines and like the shadows are making lines, and the lights allowing for certain um, uh, yeah, lines and shadows to sort of help make the scene look more interesting. And I'm using that, and I'm just waiting for somebody to whether it's a silhouette or a larger part of the person to be in the shot. I'm just waiting. There's certain ones where it's a little bit closer, so I'm using maybe a 50, sorry, not closer, but like a tighter shot with the 56, or like an 85 millimeter or 135, where I'm a little bit more further away to frame, because of my framing needs to be a certain way. So I'm kind of way a little bit further back, but yeah, just waiting for the right person to come along, and I'm taking a variety of shots, and then one person who's maybe dressed a certain way, or is running through instead of just walking through, or I'm looking for a little bit of more interest than just people walking. um a lot of it's people walking, but trying to find something that adds to it than just them walking through a scene. But yeah, you can wait for half an hour. Soon as maybe the light will change, and then I'll walk off to another place. So, and earlier on, I would walk around all day, like literally just be walking. And at the end of the day, my feet are tired and I'm sore. And once I figured out, I watched the video from Joel Meyerowitz, who's a New York street photographer, quite famous, and he was being interviewed. Probably the interview was done in the 80s. I watched it on YouTube, and he was just standing on the street corner in New York, and he was like, "What's great about this is, everybody comes to me. I'm just standing here, and you see these. He's telling the interview like, yeah, look at these people coming through, and then these people coming through, and then they're gonna talk to each other, maybe interact, and then walk their separate ways. There's a lot of action going on the street corner, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that in downtown LA. I'm just gonna go stand on the street corner for 20 minutes, half an hour, and see what happens. And it was fruitful. He was right. A lot of people come and interact and say goodbye or say hello, and um, as long as the it's a corner, there's certain corners in downtown LA that some of my friends, they're like, oh, we knew to find you here because the light is good there. I'm gonna I'm gonna be shooting there. And for me, it's like, well, I'm using the same light, I'm using the same location, but if I angle it slightly different, it's a different person, it's a totally different picture than the one that I took the day before. So there's that aspect of it as well, where for practicing purpose and for getting a shot, I can go to the same place, same location over and over again, and come up with something slightly different each time. So that's a good exercise to try if there's something you're trying to get into. Just find somewhere. It also helps with the comfort part of it, and to get used to not being nervous and being anxious and things like that. It's just to go stand at a busy corner, busy sidewalk, and just observe it, observe the light, observe the people, take pictures here and there. Um, you know, it helps with a lot of stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, if you return to a composition, which is a great aspect, I think, like you said, of like practicing photography itself. Do you ever like run into the same
yeah.
people on the street?
I do, yeah. Some people have, not consciously taken pictures of over and over again. I just, sometimes I remember the faces, sometimes I don't. And some people, yeah, I'm like, oh, I just took a picture of this guy like, 4 or 5 months ago, and here he is again in another one of my photos. So yeah, it does happen. Like there's people I recognize. They'll never recognize me, but I've taken a picture of them and I've seen their face. I stared at their face for about 5 minutes, you know, as I'm going through editing photos. And so as I'm walking around downtown, I'll recognize them, but I'm not like going up, hey, what's up, dude? Like, nah,
Right.
I just keep walking. I'm like, okay, they're just one of the characters of downtown LA for me.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people think of like street photography as being like you mentioned, like on the move and like you're always just kind of the hustle and bustle of city life, I guess. But yeah, it's neat how
Yeah.
you really kind of just take a step back and just observe of the surroundings and just the way people are moving around and everything too.